If I had to start a brand new AI agency in 2026 and make $100,000 as soon as humanly possible without any audience, any skills, and any real experience in the business model, here's exactly what I would do. And this is the exact same advice that got me to making over $1 million by the age of 19 years old. And I'm not gonna sit around in this video and teach you guys a bunch of theory of AI automations that you sell and services you sell for $50 or $100 a pop, because that's honestly the trap that most people fall into when they try to make money online with AI. When you start charging that low of amounts for your service, you have to have hundreds, if not thousands of clients to make any real substantial money. What actually works is building a very valuable service and a complete overall acquisition system that brings extra trackable revenue to a client that you work with. And when you do it correctly, you can charge anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 upfront for a service just like what I'm going to show you, meaning you only need a handful of clients to make that first $100,000. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I would do it step by step if I was starting from zero today. So let's jump into it. So let's start with step one, which is picking the right niche of clients you want to work with in the industry of clients you're going to be serving. Now, the big mistake that people make here is they try to go out there and serve everyone rather than just a select group of people. And there's a saying I say all the time, which is the riches are in the niches. And that is extremely true. The chances of you making a lot of money when you're a super broad service, when you're kind of average at all rather than a master of one, is extremely low. It is much easier to sell something very expensive to a select group of people that you can actually know you can get results for because you've done it for others just like them, rather than working with people in different industries from roofers to HVAC to real estate agents as clients. It's going to get messy. So pick one niche out there. And you could start off thinking like big local businesses, okay? Like I mentioned earlier, real estate agents, plumbers, HVAC, roofers, solar companies, med spas, law firms. The list goes on, okay? There's businesses you probably drive past every single day that needs the service like what I'm gonna talk about. But the big thing you wanna look for here is you wanna define on one market, meaning one country of you're gonna work with. Of course, I'm biased to say work with United States and people that live in the US because they on average probably have more money to pay you. And also make sure the TAM, or total addressable market, of clients that you're gonna work with within an industry is big enough. And I like to categorize it like there's two different buckets. There's blue ocean markets and there's red ocean markets. Blue ocean markets is an example of an industry out there that is very small and maybe not a lot of competition of different marketing agencies or people offering similar services in there, meaning it's less proven. But there also could be high risk, high reward. So if you go in that industry, for example, let's say it's wedding venues, okay? I don't know many agencies that work with wedding venues. You could see a lot of success because there's just not much competition. But on the flip side, it's a blue ocean market. So you're also at the same time, it's not proven and it's not quote unquote saturated. So you run the risk of maybe not seeing any sort of results. While the red ocean market is the complete opposite, where it's technically saturated, but I love to say that saturation is just another word for proven. When people tell you don't go after saturated niches like real estate agents, roofers, HVAC, etc., what they're not telling you is on average, those industries have way more successful people doing the exact same thing, if not worse of a service than what you're offering in there compared to all the other smaller markets. So overall, pick your niche and stick with it, meaning stick within it for at least 3 to 6 months, okay? Don't get in the constant habit of hopping industries every single week or every single month, because at that point, you're pretty much just restarting your business. And there's a bunch of industries out there and a list you can choose from. I'll have a top link in the description below where I have an entire list and a group that you can join completely for free for 30 days to learn the exact niches that I'd recommend if I was starting from zero today. But some quick examples of this is I would go after the medical sector, real estate agents, and home service-based businesses. There's a ton of money being made there right now, and it's very, very hot, especially because on average, they're older business owners and they don't know how to use AI, but they know AI is the next big thing and they just want to get in on it. Now, let's head into step 2, which is building a good offer. The big mistake people make here is they try to sell features rather than outcomes. Nobody cares how good your AI caller sounds or how good your AI ads look. At the end of the day, all people care about is what outcome is that bringing to their business and is it trackable? So my personal preference of an AI agency offer that I currently do today is I pair 2 key services that go hand in hand together that allow me to charge a lot of money up front for it. And these 2 things is number 1, running ads on Facebook and Instagram for clients, whatever you work with, whether it's roofers, HVAC, doesn't matter. You're gonna run ads for them on Facebook and Instagram, and these ads are going to get more patients or customers or booked jobs, booked consults. It doesn't matter what it is, it's gonna get them that outcome. So let's take, for example, you're working with real estate agents. I'm gonna run an ad for a real estate agent client of mine that's gonna get them more interested home buyers and home sellers in their area through ads that I completely use AI to generate. And there's 2 key tools I use out there to make these today for my clients. Number 1 being arcads.ai, and I'll play a quick demo of it right here so you guys can hear what it sounds like.
Are you a real estate agent who is still struggling to get more listings in 2025? In the next 60 seconds, I am going to show you my team, and I are helping over 100 agents agents like yourself.
And number 2 is Ideogram, which is an image ad tool, while ArcAds, of course, being a video ad tool. You can use Ideogram to make as many image ads as you want for a super cheap cost, and it can make a bunch of them super fast with literally just a prompt you give it that ChatGPT or Claude could generate for you. And then the second part of this service is you're gonna set up what's called an AI caller. This AI caller or AI voice receptionist can call every single lead that you get for your client within a 5-minute window of them opting in and book them automatically onto your client's calendar, meaning you've solved the entire gap from getting this new interested customer to convert onto your client's calendar to actually speak with them, and your client can of course sell them and close them as a customer. And I'll play a quick demo right now of how this AI caller sounds so you can actually hear how a quick demo would look.
Thank you for calling 123 Realty. This is Julia. How can I help today?
Hi, Julia. I am wanting to talk with a specialist.
Just so I connect you with the right specialist, are you calling about buying, selling, or general information?
More, I'm looking to buy.
If you are buying, are you focused on Washington, D.C. proper or nearby areas?
And for a service like this, I've seen people charge anywhere from $3,000, $5,000, even $10,000 upfront. For me personally, in my agency, I charge $15,000 to $25,000 upfront. I'm at a place in my agency where obviously I have a lot more experience. I have a great team behind me, but you can watch a bunch of live sales call recordings on my channel of how I actually do this stuff in depth because I post them multiple times every single month. But if I was starting out today, I'd probably charge anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000, assuming I had very little sales experience. And I do this for about a 90-day long period because I've personally seen that 90 days to 120 days is kind of the sweet spot on your agreements that you want to work with clients, meaning that first upfront, $3,000 to $5,000 would cover that amount, and then you have some sort of monthly fee after that. All right, so next is step 3, which is actually getting in front of your potential clients on sales calls and booking these sales calls on your calendar so you can convert them into paying clients. Now, here's the reality that you probably don't want to hear, that no one else on YouTube is going to tell you, but in my agency today, where I work with a ton of very high-end clients, I spend 0 time on cold calls, I do 0 cold emails, and I do 0 cold DMs to close new clients. Now, everyone on YouTube tells you to do this stuff, and I think it makes sense if you have less than about $1,000 in your bank account and you don't really have any money to invest in your business. But if you do have some money to invest in your business, meaning $1,500 or more, I highly recommend looking into actually investing into your own paid ads. Meaning you're gonna run your own ads on social media like Meta, so Facebook and Instagram, targeting your potential clients that you wanna work with and making some sort of clear offer to them on an ad. For example, if I was working with real estate agents, I would say, real estate agents, get 10 listing appointments in the next 90 days using our AI system, or you don't pay. I can make a video out of this using ArcAds, or I can make an image out of this that's very simple using Ideogram. And I'd spend $30 to $50 a day on this ad, and it would book me sales appointments as I'm sleeping. This is the leveraged way of doing this, okay? If you're listening to someone that's saying they're making all this money through cold calls or cold DMs, most likely they're lying to you because that's extremely hard to scale. And I know there's a section of you guys that are watching this video that don't have more than $1,000 to invest into your ads. And here's what I would do if I were you. I would get a job, okay? I've said this before and I know it's the answer you guys don't want to hear, but that's exactly what I did when I was starting at 15, 16 years old on this channel 3 years ago as well. I had to humble myself and realize that if I don't have money, I have to go out there and work to get it. And I personally think today it's actually a lot better to get a job and make $10, $15, $20 an hour that you then go invest into paid ads than actually sitting around all day and doing cold calls that you probably don't convert anything from. So overall, running paid ads is exactly how I'd book more sales calls consistently on my calendar, assuming I wanted to close and onboard new clients as soon as humanly possible. And the best part about this as well is when you close clients this way, you're almost to an extent proving to them you know what you're doing because you're practicing what you're preaching, because you're pitching them on an advertising service and you're getting on a call with them through an advertisement you ran, meaning the trust of them knowing that you actually know what you're doing is a lot higher. And this is personally what I've seen working extremely well inside my agency today. And the last point on this is paid ads allows you to scale however fast you want, okay? So if you're booking a call on average for $50, meaning you're getting a sales call for every $50 you give Meta, if you want 2 sales calls a day, you just raise that to $100 a day and so on, right? That's just quick kind of paper math, but you guys get the point. You can predictably scale from 1 call a day to 10 calls a day overnight if you truly wanted and you could handle it. All right, now headed into step 4, which is actually jumping on the sales call and closing the client over a Zoom call. Now, like I said earlier, you want to be selling the outcome, not the features, okay? Of course, you're going to mention the features on how you actually deliver the outcome, but what the client cares about or what the prospect cares about is how are you actively going to bring them these extra new jobs for their business or these new clients for their business. That's what they care about. So don't talk about all the random stuff that might sound cool to you, but not to them. And the most important part of these sales calls and kind of the big framework I follow on these that an early mentor of mine told me is you're going to first start out with what's called a discovery process. In this discovery process, you're going to frame the call like, hey, look, John, it's great that we can jump on a call today. For the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, I want to spend as much time as humanly possible just really understanding your business, what's going well, what's going wrong, and see if I can ultimately help you at the end of the day, because I'd hate to go through this entire call with you, show you everything I do, and at the end of it, it really just not being a fit. So let me spend the first, initial amount of time with you, just asking you some questions and seeing if I can ultimately help. That frame right there is the exact frame that not only my team uses on sales calls today, but I was doing when I was 17 years old, selling to real estate agents as well. You want to go in a big discovery mode, meaning you ask them as many questions as possible and you find their pain points. This is the most crucial part of the whole call, because if they're super closed and you don't get any information on them and you head into your pitch and what you talk about and what you're doing for them, you're not going to know what they're actually struggling with and how you can tailor your offer and your service to actually be meant for them. So really deeply spend some time understanding their problems and their business and see if you can help. And I promise you, if you go into the call asking yourself, how can I truly help this person, rather than how can I make that extra $5,000, you're going to be a lot more successful on these calls. And then the second part of the sales call is, once you've gone through the discovery and you understand their pain points, is you're going to head into what it's called your pitch. Okay. So me personally, if you guys have watched sales calls in my own agency on my channel, I personally just open up what's called a Lucid chart. You guys can look it up. You guys can look up Lucid app or Lucid.chart. It's a very simple software or tool out there that you can kind of just display things in an easy way and show what your service does for them. I used to use slide decks back in the day on PowerPoint and Google Slides, but personally today, I think just laying things out super straight, super straightforward, and just simple is a much better way of doing it. And you don't want to beat around the bush. You want to just get to, what are you doing for them? What's the outcome? And then what's the price? And after you've price dropped, that's kind of where you go into objection handling or any sort of questions they have, and really tying down to make sure they're actually confident that your service can help them. And then of course, assuming you've done that well, you close the deal, you get payment, and you schedule them in onto your onboarding call a few days later. And over time, the whole goal of this is you're just consistently stacking clients. And that's the great reason why paid ads can consistently get you more clients, because that first client that pays you $5,000 that you may have spent $2,000 to acquire through ads, you can now take that $5,000 and put it back into your ads, and that'll fund the next 2 clients. And it's just a duplication game from there. And that's really what the agency game is at the end of the day. And that exact cycle around getting good results, jumping on sales calls, and consistently repeating and starting to build a team over time is exactly how I'd make my first $100,000 using the AI agency model today if I was starting from complete scratch. And of course, you can do this if you're starting out with $0, but I personally think you're going to be much better off if you actually spend some time just working a job, getting some money for paid ads and softwares and tools like GoHighLevel, and you actually just get some success with it there, and then you can start to scale faster. Now, if you guys want direct access and help from me around learning this model extremely in depth, I'll have a top link in the description below where you can sign up for the tool I was mentioning earlier that you're going to have to use, called GoHighLevel. You get 30 days completely for free, and you get a ton of bonuses and extra resources alongside 5 weekly Q&A calls, literally for just signing up for a software you'd have to sign up for anyways. I have the best AI agency group out there, especially for all of my affiliates, so make sure you use it. You can use the top link in the description below, and I don't have any sort of paid program or course to sell you, because at the end of the day, I'm mainly focused on my agency throughout most of my day, and then of course I help my affiliates that use GoHighLevel in the community inside. So guys, that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment what you liked about it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.